Hello, everybody. Welcome to the United Stand. Oh, what a joyous day. The weather may be absolutely shocking outside. It was today at the game, but Manchester United have just beaten Leeds twice in the same game. It was one of them epic games. And you know what? I just thought it was that long ago, Kev, since we actually played Leeds United in a league game at Ellen Road. That game today pretty much mimicked what it probably was like back them 19 years ago and how that game was played, mate. But first of all, Kev, mood right now? Let me know what you're thinking, mate. How are you doing?
Happy times. That's all I'm saying, man. That sums up my mood at the minute. Nobody is taking that away from me. Borat has officially landed on the United Stand, and I don't care. And we spoke about this last night. The build up to this, it is a huge game or whatever. Whatever you make a Leeds, you can say, they're down near the bottom of the table. I don't care. I wanted to win this game, and we've won it. And I think we thoroughly deserved it on the play and everything of 90 minutes. So I am, Borat mode, man. Loving it.
Yes.
I didn't know we had Borat in our budget.
Yeah. No one's got a bigger smile right now than Jordan. Mate, you enjoyed that, didn't you, pal?
Do you know what? When you drag yourself up out of bed to watch the game after working late, and Jay always says it's the hope that kills you. When it got to 2-2, I was like, I'm knocking on the head. I can't do this anymore. I'm going back to bed. I'm calling in sick. I'm done. And then we come back and beat them. And it was a throwback game. I thought the conditions were amazing to see. Slide tackles all over the place. And it was just nice to see there was a bit of bite on some of the tackles. And that's what it's about, rivalry. That's what it's about. That's why we do what we do.
Joe, talk me through your emotional roller coaster of that game, mate.
I'm going to say it from the O'Neill point of view, which is my family name, because in my family, the majority of people are United fans or miserable Leeds fans. And the thing is, throughout like the past, whatever it's been, 20 years of them being shite, I've been able to text them. They've been texting me constantly when we've been doing crap over the past couple of years. And when I've been saying it back to them, they didn't care. So this day, when we're playing them and we're 2-0 up, I am rinsing them in family chats. I'm going after uncles, aunts, cousins, people I barely met in the street, just going for them, all right? And it was glorious. And then, much like sometimes in the bedroom, 24 seconds of shame, it all came back to me. And I had there was a solid 15 minutes where I was like, oh, maybe I should have held my tongue until 90 minutes. But no, then we had Fred Aldinho came on. Then we have the beautiful future Ballon d'Or winner, Elanga, really put out a sight. And then I was back in the family chats with a big smile on my face. And unfortunately, my newborn nephew, it has been turned to the white side, which is, of course, Leeds United. And I felt bad going for him, but he needs to get it as well. He might be 9 months old, but he needs to know you picked the wrong team. You picked the wrong team. So that's what my day has been, going for family members. The proper Irish
Let's start it off then. Kev, Joe touched on picking the wrong team there. That team selection, when it came out, mate, it was a bit of a, hang on a minute, what's happening here, mate? What did you think about that, pal?
Eyebrows were raised straight away, mate. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm going to give this a little bit of time. And I'm like, Varane is on the bench. So I'm like, so if he's on the bench, he's fit enough to play. I'm like, Jesse Lingard all of a sudden is involved for a first start since God knows when in the Premier League. And I'm like, right, okay. Wan-Bissaka's obviously brought back in. And like, right, we go with it. And we see how we go. You sort of take it from there. Now at half time at 2-0, I'm thinking, right, fair play. This is beautiful. The one thing with me with Manchester United at the minute is this 45 minutes of football. So I'm thinking, right, this next half now, if we don't turn up, this is when it will be typical Manchester United. And lo and behold, 2 goals later, at 2-2, I'm like really ready to pull my hair out. And I didn't think we were playing, bad at that time. It was just like, how have these even got back into this game? And the goal to make it 2-1 is like a bit of a freak goal because that's a cross. I'm not having it, man. If he tries telling me that, he meant to put that there. So, and all of a sudden, they're back in the game out of nothing. But we showed character today. And I think it was a throwback to the 70s, 60s, 70s. The challenges that were flying in. McTominay takes a lot of stick, fair enough. But, I'll be able to tell my grandkids when I'm older, I'll say, I was there when Man United scored from a corner and Harry Maguire scored it, and Fred come on as a sub and scored. Oh, and that's another thing that's up for debate because at that time, I'm like, Paul Pogba's coming off, must be injured. And he didn't look happy. You know, he sort of shook his head as he come off, and I'm thinking, Fred on for Pogba. And I'm like, but you've got to hand it Rangnick there. You know, he's made 2 changes in Elanga, who had a great chance before it should have finished it. But the 2 substitutions he's made have made a massive impact on the game. So hats off to Rangnick. You know, there's some people that have said he's too slow to, judge situations or react to situations. He's done it today, and for the good of Manchester United. And every single one of them players, I said it yesterday, I just want to see a performance for 90 minutes, running, getting stuck into challenges, and they've done it today. I'm absolutely delighted, 100% over the moon.
Yeah. Key moments, Jordan, mate. Here, literally, Kev touched on it there. The set piece, mate. We scored from our corner. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it was Harry Maguire. It had to be Harry Maguire. We got the slab head slide as well. I was just waiting. I thought, is he going to? No, he held back, and I thought, oh, well done, Harry.
That would have been the time to do it.
But if there was a time to do it in front of the Leeds fans, I mean, you might have actually got a bit of praise for that. If he did it in the Leeds corner, that would have been all right. There is a difference to United fans there. But Jordan, we've waited a long time, mate. I think I heard the comment on the commentary, actually. The set-piece coach, the new guy that's come in this season, actually doing laps of honour right now. Yeah. Because we finally scored one. But that, I think, set the tone, didn't it, mate?
Yeah, it's crazy to see, to be honest. I was just saying before we went live in my WhatsApp group, we all looked at it and 20-1 for Harry to score a header. And it's like, you know, if you keep fishing from the pond, eventually you're going to catch a goldfish at the fair. And threw a tenner on it, and the slabhead slide came in for me. So yeah, no, it was brilliant to see. And you're right, Kevin Cow's hit the nail on the head. It was a proper throwback. The team selection for me, when I looked at it and it came out, was an absolute minefield of potential disaster for Rangnick. But again, you know, you live by the sword, you die by it. He made calls, and we've won 4-2. I'm not going to get overly excited because I think we've put Leeds to the sword a couple of times over the last 2 years. They're not a great team, and they're actually worse this year than they are last year.
Oh God,
I think that Fred substitution, I don't know about anyone else, you know, I'm not afraid to admit it. He made that substitution, and I called him every name under the sun for bringing off Pogba and putting on Fred. And I sarcastically put in one of the groups, for F's sake, let's trust Fred to win it. 8 seconds later, Fred is the back of the net. And I'm like, yeah, brilliant. So yeah,
mate,
no,
I've been there before. I've been there before.
I was getting ready to tweet, and lucky I didn't tweet. I just put it in a WhatsApp group. But it's one of those where, brilliant to see. I think Elanga, I'm so happy for him that he got the goal. What an upgrade is Elanga on James, guys. What an upgrade.
Yeah.
You know,
that's it. That was quite clear there. I mean, for everyone who was saying, I mean, Ricky probably the only one actually won't say ever. McCurry and Dan James, we've seen why. We got rid of Dan James there, very limited, and where is pretty much where he belongs in the relegation fight. No disrespect, but that's the sort of standard that Dan James is. Elanga up and coming, but Joe, I'll come to you on that team selection again, mate. Another player that came in, which I didn't expect, but if there was one type of pitch, one type of occasion, one atmosphere for a slide tackler, it was Leeds today, and Wan-Bissaka thought, what a game to come back in. He was playing everywhere, mate. What a...
Yeah. Oh, no, it was absolutely brilliant to see him back. And because I can't remember the last game he actually started, but he was really, I won't say he was on top form, but like you said, he is the slide tackling maestro. And he was dancing nice today, but he came back and what was it? I thought that Leeds did, what was it? It wasn't a goal that Leeds scored, but it was where he was a free kick. What was that again? Where he went down. It was a free kick given, I think, for a shot the Leeds had, and he wasn't quick enough. He didn't play the whistle, and he wasn't quick enough to get back on his feet and get back into position. But I think that was just for a shot. I can't remember exactly what it was for. But he had a good game overall. I was kind of glad to see him dropped over the last couple of weeks, and for this game it suited him perfectly. But I'm still sort of 50-50 on which one should be starting, him or Delo. I think Delo kind of suits the Rangnick style better, although I will say Wan-Bissaka is a better defensive player. I just wish we had one, good right back.
Put them both together.
Put them both together. Let them both play on the wing. Come on, give us some. But
We need a Frankenstein, Dalot, and Wan-Bissaka, don't we? We need put them both together, make the perfect man.
If we have the budget for getting Borat here, I don't see why we don't have the budget for doing that as well. So, absolutely, yeah, we'll put it on. We'll put it on the next list. United stand. We'll put the two of them together. But yeah, Wan-Bissaka, great to see him back in. Great to see a good bit of rotation, and great to see it working out. I'm still not completely sold, but I can't fault him too much today.
No. I'm going to stay with defence, Kev, mate. I mean, tough decision now. You mentioned Varane on the bench before, but I'm looking at Maguire gets his goal today. And then I'm looking at Lindelof and his marauding runs and carrying the ball. I'm thinking, I can't drop Lindelof. And I'm thinking, oh, crap. Does that mean that Maguire scored now? Does that mean he stays in? You can't leave Varane on the bench, can you, mate? I mean, players taking their opportunities when they come around, whether it's inopportune or not, it's what you want to see, though, mate, at the end of the day, isn't it?
You certainly want to see competition for places. And I've gone in hard on Harry Maguire. I'm certainly not going to diss him today because I think as a team performance, every one of them players, I think they can all kind of come out and hold the head up high. I don't see it being a problem Varane getting in the team, but as you rightly say, Lindelof, it's almost like anybody that comes in alongside Harry Maguire kind of leads the line. And he's supposed to be the captain of Man United, and you're like, well, and I keep hearing, we've heard Paul Merson. I don't know whether he's fallen off the wagon or whatever, but he was saying you play to, Thingy's strengths, don't you? Harry Maguire's strengths, and you need to protect him and all this shit. And I'm like, are you serious? I know you get paid by Sky Sports, mate, but you're coming out with stuff like this. And I'm like, what? First of all, play to his strengths. And then today I'm like, well, fair enough. We just scored a corner. And we know that from set pieces, if you utilise him like that today, he's a big lad. There's a chance you might score from it. But we've had 140 odd corners previous to this, and that is one that we scored. So that's just like a good day. But yeah, I'm like, play to his strengths. And then I'm like, does Virgil van Dijk, Liverpool need anybody in and around him, protecting him, as Paul Merson said? And I'm like, no, it's like anybody that plays with Maguire kind of talks him through the game. I thought Lindelof was brilliant today. Really good. Remind me of a prime, and for the younger viewers probably won't remember him, but I always remember when I went to Euro 96 at Old Trafford watching the games, and Matthias Sammas, who was a sweeper. And I was like, what's a sweep? I thought it was somebody who cleaned the streets or something. No, he's a defender that basically comes up through midfield and all of a sudden is like a forward. And he was absolutely brilliant at it. And today, Lindelof, some of the positions that he found himself in, I'm thinking, all right, mate, you're going to get a nosebleed back in your lane, but effective, isn't it? Yeah. Because for me, Lindelof is a hell of a lot better on the ball than Harry Maguire is at bringing the ball out of play, the same way that Varane is. And the headache is, you look and you think, well, Varane and Lindelof out of them would be your preferred centre-back pairing. But will Manchester United drop their captain? Will they drop Harry Maguire? I can't see it. And it's something debated, haven't we?
I thought as well, sorry, Kev, and Adam, what you were saying to me about the way the pitch was suiting certain players, like the fact that Leeds couldn't really run today, or Dan James couldn't really run today, considering the pitch, considering the weather, like that's perfect for Harry Maguire. Because I was sitting, unfortunately, with a Leeds fan who's unfortunately a mate of mine, and he was saying that like Dan James is going to give Harry Maguire a really hard time, and I was like, he'll give him a kick, he'll be fine. But like, if the game was played, we'll say just on a regular day, like, that could have been a lot different, because it was too hot, and we don't like going negative considering we did win today. I feel it was convincing victory. I feel Leeds' first goal, as Kev said, like it was a cross. Right? There was no way. They should have done slightly better. Like there's no way. But if that was played out and it was just a regular day, I feel that any sort of pace at Harry Maguire is a problem, and I do feel whoever is coming in next as manager, Rangnick has to be the guy being like, because he's here for the next 2 years and behind the scenes, he can't get rid of these players, he can't do anything with them right now. But I feel whoever's coming in will, I think, be coming in with the eyes of I think Maguire is underrated in the regards of like he's not an 80 million player. I think he's being destroyed week in, week out, which I don't think he deserves, because I think he was incredibly important to us last season. But the problem is we're supposed to be a top club. We can't look past his faults. We can't look past the fact that all the strengths he has, which are, indispensable, I adore him for it. But like the flaws he has are so massive that we have to get someone to complement him to lead the line. And like that can't be something we're focusing on going into next season if we're hoping to challenge for anything.
The problem is, I think even if you get somebody to complement him, what's been shown is that his flaws are so bad that he will still get exposed. Like, there's going to be situations where he's going to get caught one-on-one. And I think you've hit the nail on the head there about the Dan James comment. I think we put in the group earlier saying, listen, if Dan James runs at Harry Maguire is in a world of trouble. Yeah, I think Lindelof, for me, like, what a glow up from him. Yeah. I think about 12 months ago, I completely wrote him off and just thought he wasn't right for the Premier League. I looked at his international performances and thought, there's a player there, but I just don't think how robust the Premier League is. He's the right player for it. But he has really, really stepped up. And the one thing you can say about Rangnick is that he's actually looked into that squad, and something he doesn't get credit for is there's certain players that you looked at and thought, they didn't have a future with us. Your Delors, your Telles, Lindelof to a degree with, other defenders coming in. You thought that they might not have a future. And he's given them an opportunity, and they've really stepped up. And he really is going to have a headache now, because you can't drop Varane, and Harry Maguire, yes, he scored a goal today, but that is Leeds. We've got to put it into perspective. I would be more confident looking at March's fixtures, going into those with Varane and Lindelof as our centre-backs.
Would there be a shout, get anyone's opinion on this one, because the super chat just came up a minute ago there, for playing the 5 at the back with Lindelof as that sweeper, like Kev said there. I mean, it's an option, I know, because he seems to just glide forward comfortably there. I know that may sound defensive and not acceptable to a lot of fans, but I looked at McTominay's performance today, and I just keep seeing liability. It's like glowing across his head. Liability for me. That's what, when I tweeted out, and I nearly did what Jordan did with Fred there, I did do that last season and got absolutely slaughtered because Fred scored against Spurs. But I could not believe why Pogba was coming off, because I thought Pogba was effective in running the show. I thought it should have been McTominay who came off, because he was literally, I know, and I'm all for the battle. And I said this before the game. I said, if McTominay's playing well, and it's just us accepting that we're going in for a battle and we're not stamping our authority on the game, because McTominay can't do that. That's why I probably would have played Matic there. But McTominay was a liability for me today. And I'm thinking, is there a case here? I don't know, it's up for any of you to think, can Lindelof play that more advanced role, sweeper role, like Kev said? It's not for me, and I've sort of passed the discussion off a lot of times when I've been asked it. But is there a case for it at all there with what we've got left this season?
Oh, see, like my
not as a future, but you know what I mean? If we've got a game where we don't have to make that certain midfielder substitution, can we bring in a Varane and push Lindelof? You know what I mean? Instead of
I'd say, Adam, that like on a consistent basis, I don't know, but I don't think it's something you can rely on Lindelof for. I think on specialist occasions, when he's been hyped up and being told, we need you to do this, we need you to be this sort of player today, I think he absolutely can. But I think consistently week in, week out, like, don't forget, like, I think Lindelof's coming into his own. I think we're seeing a lot of what happened to Luke Shaw last season. When someone is brought in to take a spot, he's like, no, I'm the top dog. And we're seeing that from Lindelof. He has that fight, which we're delighted to see. But I still think there is faults there, especially in strength. And I think if we're looking for consistency, I think like McTominay is probably just a better player than him in that position, because that is his natural position, rather than Lindelof coming in where he can do it once off, but I don't think consistently. But again, if he does come in, if that's a decision they're going to make, which I really don't think they are, I'd be all for it if it was something that we feel it could happen. But I really don't think so.
Yeah, looking at the way Ralph utilises players, and looks like Jordan said, he doesn't get the credit for. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him on certain games, because we are, as we know, lacking in midfield numbers. And like you said, the unreliability of Scott McTominay, he's a red card waiting to happen, in my opinion. A suspension around the corner, and that's something where we're going to need that extra option, because Pogba's not finished. Has he finished a game since he's been back yet? I don't think he has he?
No.
He's not, which is a bit weird. But, I mean, you touched on Luke Shaw there, Joe. I mean, I thought he was at fault for Rafinha's goal. I thought he switched off, and he's been doing this continuously as well. Another one who you said then, he's sort of like after the Lord Mayor show of the summer, he's dropped off again this season, and he's probably a as much a concern as Harry Maguire right now for me, and that's crazy to think. I just think he's took his eye off the ball.
He's never just in line with the back four, is he?
No. We're seeing Luke Shaw 3 years ago than Luke Shaw we saw last season. And I'm just wondering, across the Premier League, myself and Jordan have no dog in this race when I'm asking this, but there seems to be a hangover from, remember when Italy beat us in the European Championship? And I'm just wondering, has there been any English player, aside from maybe Declan Rice, that has been consistent since then? Like, you have the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's coming back into his own because he was dropped. But like post the but post that loss, which I previously mentioned, is there any English player that's really been shining from that tournament?
Well, Phillips has been out injured. They've been all struggling, mate, aren't they? To be honest,
Harry Kane was all right yesterday.
Harry Kane was good yesterday.
Sancho's growing into it. Yeah,
Sterling's not been a rent. Oh, City fans would disagree, but I mean, Sterling's sort of, his numbers have been up there, haven't they?
Yeah,
Foden didn't get a shout.
Yeah, but that's going to be in that City team. Everyone's going to have big numbers. But it just seemed to be there is a hang up from that, and it seemed to be across that starting 11, maybe starting 15, that they haven't been able to be as consistent as they were. And maybe that's it, because I know a lot of them said it was absolutely devastating. It was great for us, but it was bad for you. So I don't know if that's part of it, mentally, because I've always thought that we were mentally weak. And I think that showed today when we let them back into all of a sudden against Villa. We've got a massive ego problem where we just can't, when we're flying, we feel like, oh, this is grand, and we take it too easy, and then look what happens. But luckily, we had a bit more time to get back into the game. But I think there
happened at the right time, the bad bit, didn't it?
Yeah. So
I'm just going to bring up this super chat here. I actually know this character. I know him well. Sorry to hear this, mate. Hi, sadly my dad is dying. This result today cheered me right up. Love you all. We love you too, mate. Hope everything goes well as it can do, and love to you and the family, mate. I do actually know that guy. He's messaged me before, but results like today, do you know what? They put a smile on everyone's face because, like you said, Jordan, there, it sort of just takes you back to what this team can do. And the chips were down when Joe said it there. You said he's close to giving up there. He was thought, I can't handle this anymore. The pressure that this team actually puts on us fans, and it's just like every bit of good work they do, they sort of undo straight away. And today, luckily, and Joe touched on it there, it happened for Leeds too soon, didn't it, today? And we managed to claw it back. We had enough time in this game to actually, and that's where your shout on Ralph comes in, mate, because he had enough time to see how the next 10 minutes or so went, then after the equaliser, and then make them substitutions, and that won the game, mate.
Yeah, I thought Fred and Elanga substitutions, won us the game. He made the call, he got it right, and you've got to give him his props. I'm really, really happy with Elanga coming into the team. I think it's exactly what we talk about, our DNA, and I love how much it means to him, and I hope it rubs off on some of the other players who fat cats and sat there on massive salaries. It means so much. It means so much to us. He's learned his lesson. He's making the changes. We were very lucky that McTominay didn't get a red card. I thought he was gone. I think Rafinha running over actually saved him, because I think if the referee had a couple more seconds to think about what had just happened, I think he would have got a card. So for me, it would have been him who come off. I know we talk about. I always end up jumping on McTominay. Beth's not here for me to have it out with her, but these games, passion isn't enough. The middle of the park, you want a player that is going to help dictate the play and really get control of it. And he just, he doesn't offer us enough. And we are really, really thin in that area. There really isn't many options. You've got, Matic, who can barely play a half at the moment, or Fred or McTominay. So, we need to pick these wins up because, like I said, March looks absolutely horrific on paper, guys.
Yeah.
Horrific. I mean, Kev, you saw it there. It's like happy fans. It's got to be a happy dressing room. We said, is what's happening, and me and you both discussed that the other night. Is what's happened this week with all the unrest, and then the so-called meeting with all the players and everyone together airing their thoughts. So it sort of galvanised this team. And today we've seen a bit more character, especially when it went to 2-2. Can this give us that confidence going into this next month of carnage? Now, it's the only way I can describe it, mate.
Yeah. Literally. Just a bit more fight I think that's what we've seen today. And publicity-wise for Manchester United, it's not been great this week, which is something we've talked about. You know, it's been a difficult week. And I said, if anything comes out of this, we go to Leeds and we win. And we get a convincing win. Now, whether you look at it and think that was convincing, personally, I think it was. Because like I say, the first goal was a bit of a freak goal that gets them back into it. And then a lapse of concentration, which, again, you can go back to the Burnley game, which, again, we spoke about. And I'm like, you know, after half-time, especially today, you're 2-0 up. You go out, you weather the storm, see that next sort of 10 minutes through, grow back into the game. And then it was too late then. We're kind of at 2-2 where you're thinking, oh, shit, you know, what's going to happen here? But, the substitutions, Rangnick's got it absolutely spot on today. I think it was a great change of just players, really. Even though we don't agree with them, the funny thing is, like Jordan rightly said, she sat there and many United fans would have been like, Fred's coming on. You know, what's he going to do? We're looking to win a game here. And then, next minute, he pops up. And the one thing, a lot of these players, the likes of Lindelof, even Fred to an extent is sort of hot and cold, but players are stepping up. Even under Rangnick, he's not been here that long. You would say that they're kind of starting to progress. Where under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that was one of my main criticisms. It was under the 3-year tenure of Solskjaer, no players really seem to improve. And when you look at the benchmark at this moment in time, the likes of Man City and Liverpool, players, the levels rise and rise, and they're getting the best out of individual players. Whoever they call on, they keep it competitive as a squad. And we don't have that at Manchester United. And at this moment in time, the levels are creeping up slightly. They're being asked to do a hell of a lot more than what they were under Solskjaer, where it was kind of counter-attacking football. You look at the record that Solskjaer had over Guardiola. Manchester City and Guardiola will not change their style of play. All we did against them was play a counter-attacking style of football, and it paid off on a number of occasions. Yeah. The same with Bielsa today. You know, he only knows one way of playing football, and he will stick to them traditions. The only thing for Leeds United is that they're not actually good enough to kind of see this through, but they will stick to a game plan. Bielsa's done that today, and I think that's the reason over the last few seasons we've either given him a hammering or we've certainly scored 4 or 5 against him. That he's a bit stubborn as a coach, but they will not change their way of playing football. And once Rangnick gets his kind of thoughts into these players and the ideas, I think we'll see a total different team. And it does come down to fitness as well. That's the first time since Rangnick took over, I would say I've seen 90 minutes of a performance. I know we switched off in the second half, at the start of the second half, but for me, nobody was blowing towards the end. He made the right substitutions at the right time, but we didn't look like we dropped off for the last half an hour. We went for it and we won the game.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, are we seeing a bit more of Rangnick now? What's your opinion on Rangnick now? I think that's 7 wins out of 12, 4 draws, a defeat. Yeah,
I guess
that's 4 wins, 2 draws in the last 6. I mean, is the case for a manager? It's dealing with what he's had to deal with this week and get 2 wins within that week, mate. Out of all that carnage that's going, so you've got to hold your hands up to the man, haven't you? You've got to be impressed on a level with him.
I think, look, it's that thing against, stats against what your eyes see and which one is the most important. Exactly. You look at Rashford's stat last season and people say he had a terrible one. And you look at it, you're like, but this guy's world class. Like, which way does it actually lie? I think it's somewhere in between. I think he's got a somewhat impossible job. I think a lot of us are very naive thinking, and I was one of them, thinking, well, whoever takes over this club has we feel a world class squad to play with. That just needed a next level manager to bring them on to the next level. But actually, there's a lot going on there. I think we do have a team that does have that potential, but I think our egos are way out of whack. And I think a problem is having someone like Harry Maguire as captain. I'm not trying to get him out of the club, but I think having him as captain now is one of the main problems. But if you're looking at what you're seeing on the pitch, I can't say I'm impressed. I can't. But I can't say it's all down to Rangnick. Do you know what I mean? Because
he's inherited these problems.
Yeah, what the problem is, and he's not here for the long term. So we were all dreaming of, I think Chelsea have like the perfect interim manager system. Every time they bring in an interim manager or a manager mid-season, they end up winning something. Gus Hiddink twice, Rafa Benitez and Thomas Tuchel. So we were all thinking, oh yeah, this squad, Pogba, everyone, Bruno, they'll all just set the world on fire when it comes in. It doesn't work like that. There is inherent problems in at the club, and Rangnick, I think the professor is doing a great job, I think, behind the scenes. And I think we see that in his press conferences, that he takes absolutely no BS, which is a breath of fresh air. And that's what we hope to see when he gets promoted to behind the scenes. So I can't really say I'm impressed for what I'm seeing on the pitch, but I feel like we are going through another transition. But I feel that what the groundwork he's doing now is impressing me, and him as a man is impressing me. So when he goes behind the scenes, I feel the next 2-3 years when the next manager comes in, I think then we really will have the groundwork for hopefully success, whoever that is. It's a really important couple of months. We have to get a couple of players signed down to contracts. We have to bring in big players. But if there is a plan, then we can maybe be excited.
Yeah, I mean, moving forward, Jordan, I mean, we're going to need our big players. Stats like Joe said there can be manipulated to your own agenda as much as you want it to be. One thing we can't ignore, though, was the importance of Bruno Fernandes last season. I'm seeing little bits of the old Bruno coming back. And yeah, it was bad today, but there's a lot of good today from Bruno as well, mate. And there's been a lot of hype about him before the game. There's a few interviews. He was talking about the atmosphere that was coming Leeds' way. He knew what was coming, and he said he thrives in that sort of situation. There's another player who does not stop until the end and won't change the way he plays. And you know what? He was vital to us again today, wasn't he, mate? Are you sort of feeling like he's sort of coming back a little bit now?
Yeah, I think we've been very over reliant on him for a long time, and because he set the bar so high, if he ever goes a couple of games and he doesn't hit those heights, he gets pelters. I've never understood why a player with the brilliance of Bruno divides the fan base in the way he does. Like, similar to Pogba to many degrees. He is a brilliant player. And I know he can be petulant. I know he can, the Hollywood passes or whatnot, but he is a player who's come into our team and actually tries to make things happen. And if 9 times out of 10 it doesn't, but then he can make it happen. Like that flick today. It come off the defender, whatnot, but it's only really Pogba in our team that could try that and do that, really. Maybe Ronaldo. And I just, that's what it's about. It's about that theatre, isn't it? That that is why our stadium is the theatre of dreams. These moments happen, but you've got to have those players to create those moments. So we should back him. He definitely is starting to grow back into the season. I feel like he was slightly off the pace, but yeah, he's our player. He's one of our leaders in a different kind of way. And long may it continue.
Kev, I know you're a Bruno fan, mate. I mean, that touch today, that goal, him alongside the likes of, I thought, Jadon Sancho today, who I'm really starting to see what he's about now. And we're seeing that Dortmund form come in. His touch and his awareness and his speed on the ball. That link up there with that. We can bring in, like Jordan said before, the Elanga in there. Ronaldo starting to be a bit more consistent in the build-up play, I've noticed as well, mate. That, all of a sudden, 6 goals in a week. Them 3 sort of building a rapport is going to be massive going forward, mate, isn't it?
It will be huge, definitely. On Ronaldo today, a few nice touches and stuff. I still think a lot of some fans are maybe very critical of him, or maybe looked and thought not his greatest game or whatever. But he's always involved, isn't he? But on Bruno Fernandes, I think the thing that gets me, and don't get me wrong, I love him and all that. I think he's a fantastic footballer. It's the petulant kind of side of things grates on me a little bit. And I look at the goal that Leeds scored. You know where it went to VAR, was Fernandes challenged, and I thought that's not a foul. Them little sort of spins that he does where he drops on the floor, and you're like, come on, mate, just get up or whatever. But he's a warrior. You know, if the captaincy ever come up at Manchester United, I'd certainly say he would be a candidate for it.
Them Portuguese win a lot, mate. Their little slime ball attitudes sometimes take them very far, don't it?
Exactly. But it's the dark arts in it, or football shithousery, as I would call it. Sometimes you look and you think nothing wrong with him there, and then you got a free kick. You're like, all right, that's all right. But
and then it goes, and you're like, well played, son.
Exactly. But on the Fernandes thing, a lot of people, stats, I think, are one of the worst things. It depends what stats you look at in football. You know, you could look at such and such a player, you know, he never lost the ball once in the first half, 100% pass completion. Yeah, but where did they go? Left, right, and back to the goalkeeper. Yeah. You know, and all, and then you look and you go, but you're getting beat 4-0 at half time, mate. You know, what does that mean? You know, the only statistic is the main one that's at the top of the screen that tells you that what team's winning, what team's losing. And people do read into stats and that. I get it. I don't mind about that and stuff, but there are certain ones that you look at, especially when it comes to a player like Bruno Fernandes, who is constantly looking to open doors and play the passes that the likes of McTominay and the likes of Fred would never even dream of. You know, Pogba and Bruno Fernandes are two of the players in our team that are on a different level to me, because they're looking to make them chances and they'll take risks. They are risk takers. You know, it's not left, it's not right. I'll give it back to David De Gea, keep the stats up. No, I'm looking forward here. I'm going to try and play a ball through. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, innit? If it works, it's great, but you shouldn't be knocked for that, in my opinion. It's positive, if anything, from a player like Fernandes and from Pogba. That's the kind of thing you want at Old Trafford.
Exactly that, mate. I mean, one interesting stat that I didn't even realise today, Joe, was that those were Sancho's first 2 assists in the Premier League this season. And that goes to show what Kev said.
Really?
Stats can be very misleading. I thought he's been playing all right.
Yeah.
But the main stats that everyone talks about, they were his first 2 assists in the Premier League this season, which is mental.
That is insane. Well, considering he got his first goal in the Premier League at Old Trafford against Southampton, wasn't it, the other week? But it goes into what Jordan said earlier on about Sancho. Like, he is starting to show his class now. I think it took him a little while to adjust, which makes sense. You're coming from a different league and all like that. But we know why we spent the big money on him, you know, and he's got a great attitude and he'll run for days. And for me, he was man of the match. He got man of the match on Sky Sports as well. But I thought he was really, I just really think there's a top quality player in there, and we're really starting to see it now. I'm really, really excited. And Ricky said, I just want to point out, not to have a go at Ricky, but he said the opposite would happen. He said he'd be start the first few games of the season, and then after Christmas he'd be dropped. It's actually the opposite that's happening. He wasn't really playing the first bits of the season, and now he's starting to show who he is. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with him. I'm really, really excited going forward. I think I don't know why, but I'm happy. There doesn't seem to be a lot of shade being thrown at him this season. It seems to be all sort of at Ronaldo, which I guess is the one shining light of having him as well. It lets other players develop under the radar. But I'm really excited to see the final close of the season with him. I think there's a couple of more counter-attacking goals in him, and a few more double assists maybe before the season's over.
Yeah, like I said, another stat there. 9 goals for Bruno this season. Bad season. We've got another third of it to go yet. So it just goes to show it's absolutely it goes either way you want it. And it's some fans like certain players, they always back them up. I mean, we've seen that on the United stands. People would argue the point of a certain player till they're blue in the face. But when it comes down to it, the main stat, Kev, like you said, mate, is that league table, where we are in it, how many goals we've got. We're now in double digits, 4 goal difference. How long did that take? God. But fourth, Kev, and quite well until the games are played that are in hand, quite comfortably fourth now. So solidifying that spot in a way, it's going to be crucial now going forward. We spoke about it last night in terms of top 4 aspirations. These games go a long way, don't they now? Because that just gives you that little bit of a buffer. Only 4 behind Chelsea as well, mate. I don't know how that's even happened.
Crazy,
that is crazy.
That is crazy.
It is. It just goes to show how close we could be. And think back to them games, mate. You know what I mean? The Southampton, the Burnley recently, if we'd have just held them out, that'd have been 6 wins in a row.
And doesn't that tell you everything about Manchester United and how much of a big club Manchester United are? That if we win certain games, we're within touching distance of Chelsea. Yet the empire is crumbling at Manchester United. Back page, front page, whatever the media is, all based on Manchester United, the unrest, everything that's going on. And yet, you never really hear anything about Chelsea, do you, at the minute? It's like,
no one cares.
In third. Probably, yeah. It's fine, isn't it? But when it comes to Manchester United, that's what you have to deal with. And it is tough to take because in a way you kind of look and you think we should be competitive. And at the start of this season, when we brought in Sancho, Varane, and then Ronaldo, and I think we were all kind of crying out and thinking, just put that cherry on top of the icing on top of the cake. Get us a central defensive midfielder and we'll give it a right good go this season. Now, we didn't get that, but I still thought we should still be sort of kicking around there and giving it a right good go. And there's plenty of football to be played. But as Joe rightly says, was it Jordan March is worrying. And the horrible thing as a United fan is, years ago, you'd have been really excited about going into them games, whereas this is, it could go one way or the other. It is totally 50-50. We could be out the Champions League and even probably out nowhere near top 4 come the end of March. Or if we have a great March, all of a sudden we find ourselves in the latter stages of the Champions League and we've strengthened our place in the top 4, which is kind of what we want to build on now. And it's not where we want to be. It's not the kind of thing we want to be talking about here on the United Stand is United fighting for top 4, because I've laughed at Arsenal fans in the past. Last day of the season when they've, got into the top 4 and they're running around with their invisible trophy. And, I'm not for that. I don't see it as an achievement. It's not an achievement. Getting into a competition for next season? There's no silverware. No, it's not success. So how can a club like Manchester United be judged on finishing in the top 4? And that's where standards have fallen.
I have a question because I don't know if I misheard Martin Tyler, but it's another fun stat if it's true. But did he say that Ronaldo is 1 goal away from being the all-time or equaling the all-time top goal scorer in the history of football? I thought he had said that in passing, and I think if someone can comment on that to make sure, because
leave the comments and the statos, will come back to it on that,
because that might be the only joy we have in March if he scores. That it could be in a 4-1 loss to Atletico, but we'll get that going.
We've got 2 more games in February. Let's get through them as well. But one thing we don't usually discuss on the United Stand, but it has come up as a super chat. Guys, opinions. I've got to do it because it's a super chat. But just before we move on. Dallas, seriously? I mean, come on. Come on now.
Wait, let me get a picture of
this.
Nah.
Well, you're both men anyway, so let's just check that.
Don't get us started on lookalikes, because I know what's coming for me anyway.
Yeah, we
Lee
know
Mack,
that one.
Teabag, Peter Crouch, I've had them all. Gary Neville's love child.
Well, I suppose the obvious one is the Matic one, but that one's stuck and he's carried me through.
Well, you have the same beard, like you copied his style, definitely. Like
you actually got a picture up of him now.
I
just
do.
I've got a picture up as well. Yeah.
To be honest, Adam, you definitely looked at him and went, "Yeah, I'll be having that." He's
copying me, innit? Because I'm older. I mean, come on.
Show me the picture, Joe.
Yeah.
Can I just say, Kev? Anybody that calls you teabag, you need to fight them.
Thank you very much. When you look at that in like a blurred, there, it's sort of not a million miles off, I suppose, is it?
But it's the same hair, beard, everything,
It is quite fitting because people in the comment section are saying, is Kev like live streaming from Strange Ways, which I am not. I'm not. Everybody always says this. I have a white backdrop. Joe's got a white backdrop, but because mine, I think he's Mancunian, he's locked up, of course. As if, do you know what I mean? I'd be given time in Strange Ways to live stream from the United
Strange Ways.
I'd never get into trouble, mate.
I'm going to go around, actually. We're going to do a bit of a roundup and do our own sort of ratings. I've not done this before, so I'm looking forward to see what everyone thinks of this. And I want everyone to join in the comments as well. Kev, set us off, mate. What are you giving David De Gea out of 10 today, pal? What do you reckon? At fault for that goal for you?
Yeah, I give him a 6, I think. And it was. If you want to be highly critical of that goal, that's why I mark him down slightly. And don't take anything away from him. I've absolutely... Everywhere you go, you take De Gea with you. I thought he's been sensational.
He took the weather,
this
mate,
season.
anyway.
Well, he certainly did. We took the Mancunian weather to Ellen Road today, but 6.
And slapped him with that as well. Jordan and Joe, you agreeing on that one? 6 for De Gea?
Yeah.
He didn't really make any great saves or anything like that, and that was the one thing he was left flat-footed for. So I think 6
I think it's fair, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jordan, hit me up with Wan-Bissaka back in the team today, mate. What do you reckon?
Wan-Bissaka, I'd probably go for a 6 again. I don't think he did anything. Yeah.
I'd say 6 as well, because a lot of his great, wonderful sliding tackles came from him, being out of position, which is kind of constant problem for him. But 6, I think, is a good score for him.
Yeah, I think so. Kev, you happy with that?
I think I'd agree with that. That was Aaron Wan-Bissaka conditions today. That's what I would say.
It was made for him, wasn't it? I mean, Slabhead Joe. We got the Slabhead slides. What are we giving him today, mate? He's been in the headlines. Is he getting the best mark out of the defence, or is he going to be fighting Victor?
So. No. I'm going to give him an 8 because he got the goal.
Ooh,
I think he
8?
I give him. He got an important goal. Like, I think that pushed him straight up. I think the only thing that brings him down from getting more than that is if he just did this to the Leeds fans, that would have been great. Or even cup the ears, like that's captain material there. But I'm going to give him an 8 because he got a very important goal. He scored from a corner for us and broke that duct. And like, defensively, I don't think there was anything he really did wrong across the board. I can't think of anything, but for the goal, like, I can't give him not. If he's a defender who scores a goal, like, come on, Nicky, you're on my side. You're from down the road.
Jordan, you're not agreeing with 8?
No, I think that's too strong. I know he scored a goal, but if you're giving him an 8, then you're pushing Lindelof into the 9s and 10s, and I think that would be too strong. I think he's, 7. 7. I think he was above average, which is a 6 for the goal, so I'd go with a 7.
Kev, you deciding vote 7 or 8?
The man with the massive head today, 7 for me. And do you know what? I might have upgraded it, as Joe rightly said. When Harry Maguire come under huge pressure and Roy Keane had called him out, and then he scored against, was it Albania or something? And then he cupped his ears. Today, and I said that at the time, don't be doing it in silly games like that, that don't really mean anything, answering your critics. Today, he answered the critics for me by scoring that goal. And that was the time to rip out that celebration in front of the Leeds fans. So I probably would have moved him up just pure giddiness, but a 7. If we're talking football-wise, 7 for Mr. Maguire.
His partner, Kev, Victor today.
8.
8? Yeah, I think that's probably about right there. Boys, are you agreeing on that? I think that was probably the easiest one we'd have to do today, wasn't it?
He was brilliant. Absolutely fantastic, Lindelof, today. Like I say, some of the positions that he found himself in, I was like, and when you through your head, you think, this is the last player I want to be in this on the edge of their box. I'm like, it's the last player I want to have the ball in this kind of attacking, dangerous area. But he just used it. He knows what to do, and I thought he was brilliant. There must be some kind of instruction that's come through. It's obviously a tactical thing because central defenders very rarely find themselves that high up the field in a game like that. So it was obviously tactical from Rangnick today.
But guys, just on that point, do you remember Harry used to do that? That was his thing.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Gallivanting forward.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it anymore. And no, Lindelof definitely has picked the mantle up and seems to do it. And previously, this is the type of game I think Lindelof would have struggled in, a game that was a bit more physical, a bit, physically demanding. But he was solid today. So, yeah, no, I agree. I agree with Kev.
Yeah, 8. I think he's taking an 8 there. He's so far leading the way. Luke Shaw, Jordan.
Guy just keeps switching off.
It does.
It's costing us goals. Switching off for the offside the other day, and then today, 5.
Yeah. 5, Kev.
Yeah.
So one thing, guys, and everyone watching, which is very important for United, is after going through the goalkeeper and the back four in our ratings is that David De Gea isn't going to get man of the match for a change, which is obviously
positive sign.
a good thing.
Yeah.
It is a good thing. De Gea's not man of the match.
Yeah.
Moving into midfield, though. I mean, Pogba, Joe, again, brought off rather too soon. He was doing well, I thought, though.
I thought he was playing really, really well. I can't give him. I would, if he finished the whole game the way he played up until he'd taken off, I'd give him an 8, at least, I think. But because he's taken off, I have to give him a 7. I hope that it was just generally down to a fitness thing, that they're just easing him back in. I say he was told before the game, you're getting 60, 65 minutes. Because even though Fred came on and scored, I still would question Rangnick a lot because that isn't going to work out every week the same time. Just Fred loves scoring against Leeds. So I'd give him a 7 for what. Yeah, give him a 7 because he didn't see out the game. But like, if he played the whole game, like I said, I would give him an 8 definitely. I thought he was just really confident, really good, really composed on the ball, and he always felt like he's dangerous. And even playing out from the back when the ball was at his feet, he was just gliding by players. So I'm hoping this means a lot of good things for the rest of the season. Hopefully a new contract as well if he keeps playing like this. But yeah, very, very impressive. But 7 because he didn't see out the game.
Jordan and Kev, 7 seems fair for Pogba.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, 7s. On to Scott McTominay. Kev, you take me away on Scotty.
You're giving the death stare here, Adam.
Yeah, yes.
Hey, that's the stare. I speak honestly, he's actually looking how I was looking at him when he was playing today. I had that stare on McTominay. I said to someone, if I see him, I'm going to hurt him. I feel that way with him at the moment. He's a liability.
Yeah.
Rate his game today, mate. What are you giving him?
I don't know whether anybody will mark him up on it. I'd probably say a 6. The thing with McTominay is, and I know he gets involved in these battles, and United fans love that, like, oh, he's come up for the youth academy, he's flying into challenges. But there was a certain stage where he was a red card walking. And I thought all the hard work that Manchester United had done, a bit like Fred when he got sent off against PSG, was it, in the Champions League? You know, where you think, take him out the firing line now. You need to actually substitute him because he's too sort of tapped into the battle. And you just knew that the Leeds players, they weren't going to back down. They knew he was on a yellow card, so they're going to play up to that. And that's the only thing I would mark him down on. There was a certain instinct where my heart kind of dropped and I thought, he's getting a red here. He's getting a red. And I will say one thing about that referee today. What an absolute tit he was. I thought he actually... No, honestly, I thought he really played up to the crowd.
I thought you were going to say something... I thought you were going to say something constructive then about him.
That is constructive.
You tit.
Yeah, no, I really do. I really thought he played to the crowd. I think even Gary Neville said it on Sky Sports at the time. It was like, obviously the Leeds fans have got a louder voice in that stadium. And it was like every tackle that went in, anything that was against United, it was like, and he kind of looked and went, he was like a rabbit in the headlights. He was like, and then just blew his whistle and give it. It was like whoever cheered the loudest basically won the decision. Yeah. But anyway, we won.
Yes. What did you give McTominay, by the way, Kev?
6.
6. Jordan? 6.
I think, no, not for me. I think he's, he made 4 yellow card tackles today. He was really lucky to not get sent off. I'm going to go 5 because we won.
I'm gonna go 6 because he'd made those tackles, but he had the skill to not get booked for them. So I'm gonna say that push him from a 5 to a 6.
Okay. In these circumstances, normally the majority vote would win, but as the host, I am overriding everybody and giving him the 5 because none of you picked up on the amount of times the man lost the ball needlessly, and you've got to understand the situation, the conditions, and the game like that. Yeah. Any sort of big up that the crowd, you don't want to give the crowd. Scott McTominay was giving it to them. He was giving the atmosphere, that opportunity for me, and I thought, you know what, anyone, you should know. Don't get the crowd involved. And he constantly did that by giving the ball away for me needlessly. So I'm going to sort of side with Jordan and being the host. Majority vote, Scott gets a 5. Yes, Scott. I'm gunning for you, mate. Jordan, Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
Influential, you've got to say, did play his part today.
Yeah, make stuff happens. 7 for me.
I think that's fair, mate. Kev, are you happy with a 7 for Bruno?
Totally agree. Certainly can't disagree with that.
Joe?
Yeah, 7, yeah. I think he got rattled a few times, but came back from it well and was very composed and got a goal and got a great assist. So I would actually say 7.58, but like 7 is fine.
Yes.
Yeah, anyone who thinks I have got an agenda against Scott McTominay, I've not. I will praise him when he deserves praising, but he was crap today. I'm sorry. He was crap. God, settle it. Right, okay. This is going to be an interesting one because we've not talked about him once, and I don't think he wants talking about because he doesn't want to be there. And pretty much this show and the game today pretty much summed up what Jesse Lingard is, which is an absolute ghost and just should not be talked about. Kev, for the sake of a rating, just give me one now so we can move on from this guy.
What's below 1? 5. I give him a 5. There was a couple of instances where he showed a bit of fight, bit of courage, won the ball, but apart from that, to me, I said at the start of this show, I don't understand the logic or whatever behind starting Lingard. And this is a player that apparently needed a couple of days off. You know, let him have a couple of days off because he didn't get his move in the transfer window to get his head straight, which he then said, no, I'm always ready to play. I don't understand what that does for team morale or anything. I'm not questioning Jesse Lingard. I'm just saying, I've said it before. I think he's got the sombrero on, the flip-flops, you know, the Lilo under the arm, and he wants away from Manchester United. He's not going to be at Manchester United next season. And some people might say you're a hypocrite because he said that about Paul Pogba. Difference with Paul Pogba, he could be the difference with Manchester United finishing in the top 4 or not. Whereas Jesse Lingard, for me, is, you know, a different level. Pogba's levels above.
Yeah. Sing Games there in the comments. McTominay close to man of the match. Head wobble time, mate. I'm afraid for you. Sorry. I did watch that match closely,
What's he
mate.
drinking?
Not a chance, mate. Not a chance for Scott McTominay. Joe,
I thought Kev was about to bring in Scott McTominay there. He just looked at us like, come on, Scott, come on.
No, my wife's just arrived back from Ireland. She's been there since Friday, so I'll just give her a fist pump, you know, like you do.
PC.
Joe, what would you give Lingard there, mate?
Look, 5. It's hard to care about him. It's hard not to get angry every time I see him walk onto the pitch. It's and represent our club. So I just can't see anything past the 5, and it takes a lot for him. It takes a lot for him to do on the pitch for me to change anything in that. I just think he's a disgrace, and he's everything that modern football has kind of turned people against. This great sport is people like him. So
strong, Jordan. There, mate. I mean, we going any better than a 5 for Lingard or worse?
What Lingard did? He nicked your bird, did he, or something? Jesus.
I don't want to talk about it.
Joe, that was dark. To be honest, he activated ghost mode today, didn't he? You would have thought this, you know, being Manchester United lad, come through the academy, this type of game he'd be up for. Where I think Scott McTominay overcooked it and was probably too up for it. Lingard just never ever came to boil, did he?
Simmer.
Yeah, literally, Beanie Man, Sim Zimmer. I think 4.5, 5. Yeah.
For the sake of speeding things along, because we've only got a minute and a half left. Jadon Sancho, I thought was pushing my man of the match today. I thought he was excellent. I was giving Sancho an 8 personally. I don't know what you guys thought about Sancho.
Yeah,
a very high 8. Very high 8.
I still feel like he's in third gear. He's got a couple of gears to go, and when he does kick in, we're gonna have an absolute baller on our hands.
Definitely.
It's refreshing from Sancho, from Manchester United fans' point of view, to see Sancho a player that actually tracks back as well. I think we've been missing that. You do not get that from Rashford, and in Sancho, the work rate up and down the line that he does, and then you've got the added kind of ability at the other end of the field where he's starting to really, really push on now. And that's a positive.
Do you know what, Kevin? Just on that point quickly, I know we're running out of time. Like, you've hit the nail on the head. He is a player that understands the position. And for far too long, we've played strikers out there that don't want to go back. He's lived and breathed it. He knows he's got to go up and down. And it's such a difference playing the right player in the right position.
Great talent.
Definitely. Yeah, Ronaldo, guys, we're in 5-6s sort of area. I was thinking.
I think he could have got an assist for Sancho with a beautiful ball, but aside from that, 6. Yeah.
6.
Yeah, 6. And the two main subs,
Sorry,
obviously the goal scorers.
Just on Ronaldo, did you notice he did go over to Harry to celebrate with him?
Oh, good.
Anyone else pick up on that?
I actually was going to ask. I didn't notice that, but yeah.
One for the cameras.
Yeah,
that one will be on the papers. That all good at Manchester United headlines tomorrow.
We'll be tweeting it out. Yeah.
I think Fred and Elanga both similar marks for their impact. Match winners, the pair of them. 7s as substitutes.
Yeah.
Like 8 got goals. I don't know. They came on, did exactly the job you want them to do. So I have to say 8 for both of them.
I don't know. Pastor Fred squeezing up there. But we've sort of convinced ourselves that Lindelof and Jadon Sancho are our man of the matches today on the show. I think that's about right.
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Took us an hour to get to our man of the match, but that was it. Well, guys, that is it for the fan forum and the roundup to the review of Leeds 2, Manchester United 4. Happy days. We move on. I'm not going to see you guys now probably for a while because I'm off to Madrid. So before we go, just give me a score prediction for Madrid, Kev. First leg, Atletico. What are you going for, mate?
Manchester United to win 2-1.
Oh,
don't ask me why. I'm just throwing it out.
Okay, Jordan.
I'm going to go 1-1.
Oh, that's not a bad result either over there, Joe.
No away goals anymore, is there?
Yeah,
No,
I'm going to go 1-0 Ronaldo header.
Oh yeah, against Simeone, we're going to get that celebration again. The Ronaldo celebration against Simeone. Yeah. We all know that one. Well, actually, if you know, you know. But yeah, it's quite famous, infamous. Yeah, guys, that is it for the fan forum. Cheers for watching in, everybody. It's been a great day for United. The weather hasn't been nice, but the result, we'll take that. And we had a little bit of a performance as well today, so we'll take that even more. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Like the video, do subscribe to the United Stand, bottom right-hand corner there of your screen. Thanks for tuning in. Ladies, everybody.